In this video, I'm going to go over an absolutely shocking election result between a hypothetical matchup of J.D. Vance versus Gavin Newsom in the 2028 presidential election. And to start off, I want to show you this poll. As of right now, Kamala Harris is leading amongst Democrats for who they want to be the nominee in 2028. But because I just made a video about that hypothetical matchup between Kamala Harris and J.D. Vance, assuming J.D. Vance is the nominee, but it might not be, I made a video about that previously. So in this video, I'm going to go over a hypothetical matchup between J.D. Vance and Gavin Newsom, who's currently polling in third place, but I think he's a lot more likely to end up becoming the nominee than anyone else in the current race for the Democrats. So without further ado, let's just jump back over to this electoral map. And remember, up here on the screen is the electoral totals. You need 270 total electoral votes in order to win. So let's go ahead and start off by awarding the states that are most likely to go Democrat and Republican, and we'll save the swing states for last. So as of right now, the Democrats are most likely to win Washington, Oregon, California, New Mexico, Colorado, Minnesota, which is sometimes called a swing state, but it's the most consistently Democrat state in the history of the United States when it comes to electoral polling. We also have the state of Hawaii. We go over to the East Coast, where in the New England area, Democrats usually dominate. I'm going to skip over New Hampshire for right now because that's going to be a swing state that we'll take a look at here in just a moment. But they'll win the states of Vermont, Connecticut, New Jersey, Delaware, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Maryland, Washington, D.C. We'll come over here and give them Illinois and New York as well. They're also going to win most likely that first congressional district in the state of Maine, as well as the statewide total in Maine. They do things a little bit different over there, as well as the second congressional district in the state of Nebraska. That gets them up to 209 electoral votes. We can come over here and give them the state of Virginia as well, which is sometimes called a swing state, but again, kind of like Minnesota, Democrats pretty much have a stronghold on that state for presidential elections as well. Now, if we flip over here, and we start awarding the states that Republicans are most likely to win, we'll have Alaska, come back up here to Idaho, Utah, Montana, Wyoming. We have North Dakota, South Dakota, the 3rd Congressional District in Nebraska, as well as the 1st Congressional District and the statewide vote. Again, Nebraska and Maine kind of do things similarly, which is different than the other 48 states. We'll have Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, Missouri. Iowa's not in play, regardless of what that disgusting poll released the day before the election showed Kamala Harris winning by 3 when Donald Trump ended up winning by over 13 points. Yeah, nice play, Des Moines Register. Way to embarrass yourself. Then we have Mississippi, Alabama. I don't think Florida's a swing state anymore. I actually think that's a very safe Republican state. We also have South Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky, West Virginia. I will also say that they'll basically win the state of Ohio, which also used to be a swing state, Indiana, and that first congressional district up in Maine, which gets them up to 219 electoral votes. So after awarding all of the, essentially safe and guaranteed states for both political parties, it's kind of still neck and neck. You have 222 to 219. But I'm going to go over why Republicans will actually have the edge in the 2028 presidential election. And to go over this, I want to go over this most recent presidential election result between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. And yes, elections can change election to election every 4 years. But if we come over here, the state of Arizona, Donald Trump, as you see, won by almost, 5.5, nearly 6 points. I really wouldn't even consider that a swing state because Donald Trump won by 5 points, 5.5 points over in Arizona, while Democrats had that same edge in Virginia, which is an overwhelmingly safe Democrat state, which I think Arizona is the Republican version of Virginia. It's going to be classified as maybe a swing state, but we know who's probably most likely to win. So if we say that the Republicans don't lose 5% in the polls in Arizona, let's go ahead and award them Arizona, and you'll see that gets them up to 230. So now Republicans actually have the edge, 230 to 222. So let's go ahead and take a look at the state of Nevada, which went Republican for the first time in an election since 2000, where I believe George Bush won. Maybe it was 2004, but it's been like over 20 years. Donald Trump won Nevada by 3 points. And I actually think that this is one of the more unique states in elections because part of the reason it went Republican is because they live right next door to California. And a lot of conservatives and moderates that have been sick of the way that Democrats have been driving that state into the ground and taxing people into oblivion and getting nothing in return has driven them next door to Nevada, where they pay no state income tax. So if you're a rich person and you moved from California to Nevada, you just guaranteed yourself keeping 13% more of your income, because 13% is California's highest marginal state income tax rate. So that influx of moderates and conservatives right next door to Nevada has turned Nevada red. It's a tax-free state. It's probably going to stay that way. So I actually think that Nevada is also going to lean Republican. They're not going to be quick to elect the governor, Gavin Newsom, to be president of the United States when they literally moved there to escape his reign. You know what I mean? So that gets Republicans up to 236. Okay, we can come back over here. Take a look at Georgia. He won Georgia by over 2 points. All right, 2.2 points, which for being one of the swing states was actually one of the largest margins of victory. And I don't think Georgia's going to flip back to the Democrats anytime soon. All right, and we can also take a look at North Carolina, which, if you notice something interesting on this map, all of the swing states like Nevada, Arizona, Georgia, they're all striped red. And the safe Republican states are all solid red. Look at North Carolina. It's a solid red on this map. And this is a CNN interactive map I'm showing you right now, okay? CNN even considered North Carolina a safe Republican state. And of course, Trump won by 3.3 points, which I think is a pretty safe margin to start the next election with. So if we award Trump Georgia, or pardon me, not Trump, if we award J.D. Vance or whoever the Republican candidate is, it could be Marco Rubio, but I'll make a video about that later. If we give J.D. Vance both Georgia and North Carolina, at this point, that gets him to 268 electoral votes. He only needs one of the following 3 swing states between Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and New Hampshire. Now, if we look at the state of New Hampshire, in the last election, it really wasn't close. It's always considered a swing state, but it never really ends up voting like one. It's kind of New England's version of Minnesota. People always say, oh, it could be close this time. But if you, as you see on your screen, Kamala Harris won by almost 3 points. I don't think that it's going to swing back in the favor of Republicans anytime soon. So let's go ahead and classify it as a Democrat state. But guys, guess what? Just for funsies, right? Just for fun, if we award the Republicans the state of New Hampshire, if they're able to pull off a miracle in New Hampshire, that gets them to 272 electoral votes. And they don't even need any of the following states between Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. But guys, if Republicans win New Hampshire, they're probably going to win here too. But I don't think they're going to end up going to. So let's say that Gavin Newsom wins New Hampshire. All right, that still leaves Republicans with 268 electoral votes. J.D. Vance would only need to win only one of the following states between Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. And let's go ahead and take a look at the election map and see which of those swing states he had the biggest margin of victory in. And it was actually Pennsylvania, where Trump won by almost 2 whole percentage points. In Michigan, the margin of victory was 1.4%, and in Wisconsin, it was just below 1%. So the largest margin of victory was ironically Pennsylvania, which is also the biggest swing state when it comes to electoral votes. So if we award J.D. Vance Pennsylvania, and remember, he's from the heartland, so he's from Ohio right next door. Don't know if that would actually help or not, but that's actually the reason Trump picked him as his running mate for vice president, because he thought it would help him in the surrounding swing states of Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. But I don't know if it actually does help. But again, that alone would get Republicans to above 287 electoral votes, which, by the way, if he did win Pennsylvania, he wouldn't even end up needing Georgia or Arizona. Well, actually, he would. But anyways, Republicans have just such a strong edge here. Okay, there are 287 electoral votes if they can hang on to Pennsylvania, or let's say things get weird next election and Democrats win Pennsylvania and Michigan, but Trump is able to win Wisconsin. He wins again. Or pardon me, J.D. Vance. I keep saying Trump, but you know what I mean. So the Democrats have to sweep Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, hang on to New Hampshire as well, And that's what it's going to take for them to win. That blue wall is going to be ever so important in the next election. But right now, I think that JD Vance will win Pennsylvania and possibly Michigan as well. Wisconsin's a little bit of a wild card. Now, historically, all three of the blue wall states of Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania vote together. They have for like the last 6 presidential elections or something like that. So again, if JD Vance is able to win all 3 blue wall states, that gets them to 312 electoral votes, and he defeats Gavin Newsom 312 to 226 and becomes the next president of the United States. So I genuinely think this is the most likely outcome if the election were to be held today, because most states in America are not wanting to make their home state like California, where they're taxed to oblivion, and in return, they get increased violence and poverty roaming around in the streets. So that's my take on the next election. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe as well, because I got more good content coming. And as always, guys, I'll see you in the next one, and stay free, my friends.